indexes of ash-related issues. So let me compare it to the music, because if the boiler performance is like music, we need a tool to evaluate it. So that's tool. So indexes, ash-related issues indexes, is like notes in the music. The first point, if you want to apply the ash related issues indexes, we have to consider the ash composition and chlorine content. On this slide, you can see the comparison between example of Indian coal taken from the literature, paddy straw, and another biomass. So as you can see, the paddy straw has a quite big content of the silica, and also the quite big content of the sodium. We have a tool to calculate ash-related issues indexes. So it was done by ourselves. We have such experience, so we can also provide some supporting of this issue. But now let me explain in a simplified way the tendency if we consider the ash composition. So we can divide it into two groups. First is acidic, the second is a basic. If we have more basic additives, in fact, we decrease the melting temperature. If we have more acidic, we increase. But we have to evaluate it by the checking of the specific ash temperature behaviors. We call it ash fusion temperatures, including such parameters as initial deformation temperature, softening temperature, chemispherical temperature, and the fluid temperature. The last one, fluid temperature, means that the ash is completely melt, behave like a liquid. So the first index is the slugging, the ratio of alkaline and acid oxide in the ash. You can see here, if you are in the region of 2 to 5, so the deposit layer is quite compact. It's not easy to remove it. And if you have let's say the index in the region between 0.2 to 0.5, you can observe a quite loose deposit, so it is easier to remove it. So it is surprise because the paddy straw from this picture looks like slugging and fouling remedies. The next index is the slug viscosity index. Here we have.
Why you said so?
Well, it's. I would like to. I intentionally said like that because, of course, paddy straw is not a remedy against ash-related issues. I just want to underscore that you have to be very careful if you consider the indexes, because some indexes, we have different indexes in the literature. We only show you the few ones. But if you have not experience in such a phenomena, you can calculate it and say, okay, is it much more better for us? It's not like that, because these indexes, in some cases, was taken from the investigation of the coal. And as you know, the coal composition and biomass composition are completely different. So the same like a previous one, the slag viscosity index looks that the more paddy straw you can see on the x-axis, if you add more paddy straw, we can obtain the low slugging inclination. But it is really true. Does it mean that paddy straw solve ash-related issues, problems? Of course not. We have to be careful. So we just want to show the indexes that can be applied for the such a biomass. One is the fouling index. In such index, if you have a value lower than 0.6, you have a low falling inclination. If you are in the region of 0.6 to 40, you have a high falling inclination, and you have an extremely high tendency to sintering of the deposit if you have such index of the value higher than 40. So now it is clear that if we add more paddy straw, we can obtain the higher falling inclination. So according to our knowledge and experience, is it true? But it's not end of the story. We think that the most important.
Janusz, read the question, because there's a question. What does P stand for in the equation?
Is a phosphorus, is a phosphorus. That means that we have to also we have to add the phosphorus content in the fuel. So not only ash like sodium, potassium, but also phosphorus.
Thank you.
Yeah. In our opinion, the most important index, in fact, is the chlorine content. According to the literature, if the chlorine content is less than 0.2, we have a low slugging inclination. If the content is higher and higher, we increase the slugging inclination. If the chlorine is higher than 0.5 weight percent, the slugging inclination is extremely high. So we calculated for paddy straw. If we consider the paddy straw co-firing, you can see the paddy straw share here. The assumption is that the chlorine in paddy is 2.3. The chlorine content in coal in average is 0.14. So you can see that if we increase the paddy more than 20%, we are in the let's say extremely critical region. Then the slugging occur. So of course, this is only in indexes. So it would be better to provide some in reality investigations. However, according to this index, the paddy straw content more than 10% create serious problems in terms of paddy straw, in terms of slugging and corrosion.